Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new EKo CBG video, and today we're going to be looking at a few more updates coming from today's Dr. O stream, featuring the Beast Deities, the Persona Ride information we've got revealed, as well as the first deck list, and its implications for the new overdress starter deck. So let's get into it. Starting off, we've got Beast Deity Lift Taurus, whose skill reads, Auto and Rearguard, when placed during your main phase, you may stand one of your units with Beast Deity in its card name, and then Auto and Vanguard overDress, when your Vanguard attack hits, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to one grade 3 with Beast Deity in its card name from among them, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck, and then if this card is on your Rearguard, you put it into Soul. So, first of all, I'll have to say, I do really like the card, I think it looks really cool, but at the same time, I think the important part of this card's skill is this part right here, when it says stand one of your units with Beast Deity in its card name, as well as, of course, on top of that, we know it is able to search out, say, your Azure Dragons, your Illuminal Dragons, as well as your Ethics Buster, which we're going to get onto. Spoilers, I guess. Ethics Buster is our grade 3. But I think as we're going to come off of that, I think it's interesting that it finally allows us to stand more of our units, because again, like I was just saying, it also means your Vanguard, which is kind of huge. As when we go onto it, you'll see why that's kind of big for both standard and premium. And I think it's going to be super, super interesting. Since as we move on to our second unit, aka Beast Deity Typhoon Bird, it only has a single skill, unfortunately, but that skill is pretty cool. So it's act Vanguard overDress circle once per turn. If you have a Vanguard with Beast Deity in its card name, cost Counterblast 1, look at 5 cards from the top of you, and call one non-grade 2 card with Beast Deity in its card name from among them to Rearguard as rest, and shuffle your deck. So I think the two important parts of the skill are the non-grade 2 part, where it can't loop with itself, and the fact that it calls it as rest, which, although seeming like a negative, as we see with Scarlet Bird as well as our grade 1, we have plenty of restand in the deck, so it is going to be really, really interesting seeing how this changes with existing Beast Deity cards, since obviously in my head, when I'm playing Beast Deities, I'm thinking of, is it Glance Wing or Glance Bird? It's the grade 1 that restands with Soul Blast. I'm thinking of that, I'm thinking of my Azure Dragons, and the like, so I think it'll be quite interesting looking at our existing cards as well as our new cards, trying to build something. I know Machina Blau is working on one, so stay tuned for a video from him, or from Winning Image, who are like our 2 resident Nova Grappler mains, obviously maybe even 50 cards as well. But guys, moving on from this, we'll be looking at our brand new and fascinating grade 3, Beast Deity Ethics Buster, who has 2 skills, the two aren't made equally, let's call it that way. And it's Auto and Vanguard circle, when placed or rode upon, discard 2 cards from your hand, stand one of your units with Beast Deity in its card name, and attack your opponent's Vanguard with that unit. At the end of that battle, if the attack did not hit, stand that unit, and if it did hit, it gets -1 until the end of turn. Its second skill is a little more boring, but it's when your units with Ethics Buster in its card name attacks, you can counterblast 1 to give it 5k until the end of turn. So again, to me this is obvious synergy with the Glance Bird, just because, again, you want to have a bit of a reset. You want something that can go unboosted and still hit those force numbers, because obviously it being an 8k, it allows it to go all the way to 13. But I think the interesting part here is the fact that it allows, since it says unit, it allows you to target itself. So on place, you can instantly swing with your Vanguard, and when ridden upon can do the same thing. Then if it doesn't hit, it just gets to restand, so you basically get a free attack on your Vanguard, which does include drive checks. And if it does hit, it doesn't restand, but it gets -1 drive. So you can effectively swing immediately, and then on your main phase, play your grade 1s, your Scarlet Bird, your Lift Taurus, anything like that can restand units. You just restand the Vanguard, it gets your -1 drive, but it basically forces your opponent to potentially take damage early, or you have to start forcing cards out of their hand immediately. So that sort of aggressive playstyle is going to be super interesting, and what I'm interested in finding out is, since it and itself goes off at the same time, would you be able to swing with it, so ride it on top of itself, its skill triggers attacks, either restands or doesn't, and regardless, the second Ethics Buster skill triggers, then restanding it in case it did get hit, or did allow you to hit, and you effectively get to go off twice, so you can potentially be looking at upwards of like 3 Vanguard attacks per turn, which is kind of insane, especially with like 3 different drive checks, or if they decide to guard it, you're just restanding for absolutely free. Obviously keeping all your drive checks, so you're kind of making them decide if they just want to take this damage early on, or you could potentially be looking at something like 6 drive checks a turn. And the interesting part is, I believe, I'm not sure what the premium interaction with this might be, but it'll be interesting to find out if you can actually stride on top of it, and if that still triggers the swing in case you ride, I believe it's the Ethics Buster stride, I think it's Ultimate Beast Deity. I can't remember the exact name of the card. I think it's Ultimate Beast Deity. But yeah, I'll be definitely making a deck profile of this over the next few days. I'll be doing some testing games today and tomorrow. We'll be talking to Machina Blau as well as Winning Image, as well as a few other Nova mains to get their thoughts on this. But I'm definitely really excited to build this going forward. Now, moving on to our Persona Ride, we finally got a bit more information regarding this. So, obviously for all the units that have the Persona Ride marker, so it's at the top left where the gift marker used to be, we're looking at the Chakrabarti Nirvana. I mean, it's like Chakrabarti Scarlet, or like Sacred Bird Nirvana, or, you know, basically the main boss unit of the new starter deck. So we found out the way that works is when you ride on top of it from hand, the front row gets continuous plus 10k, and you draw a card. Now, I know this might seem a little easily abused on first glance, but you have to remember that you can only ride your grade 3 from your ride deck the first time, since your ride deck only features once you unit 1 grade up, so you can only really do it as your first grade 3 ride, which I think will be encouraged, since this only works from hand, so you have to play as from hand to the Vanguard Circle. And I think, interesting enough, although this seems like another go in first advantage, you know, you get to pop off a turn before your opponent. The thing to keep in mind is this goes off on turn 4, unlike the imaginary gifts to go off on turn 3, which makes it a lot slower, because I know a lot of people might think, well, 1 turn isn't that much, but 1 turn is actually kind of huge. So I think, going forward, it'll be a decent way for decks to pop off, but it is very nice to be seeing the game slowing down a little bit, and it going off 1 turn later. Feels like there would be a little bit more counterplay, especially as I think the games will be going on for longer. So while they do get the first boost, it will mean for them to benefit from this continuously, they'll have to repeatedly re-ride the same unit, which I think will then allow them to balance the cards around that by giving them perhaps less powerful skills than units without the marker. But you know what, with our new guidance, we trust Bushiroad, and yeah, we'll see where that goes going forward. And moving on to the final piece of news for the day, we've got the deck list for the brand new trial deck, or starter deck rather, for Yu. So this is the Dragon Empire. I think the one thing to keep in mind that's really important is in terms of our grade 3, we're going to be looking at getting only 1 Nirvana in triple rare foiling, but given the pricing of the deck, I think it is fairly reasonable of them to be doing this. And looking at the trigger lineup real quick, as well, our general deck list, I think there are a couple things that stick out at me. One is the fact that we're getting front triggers. So since I know during VR they want to give every nation every marker, this does mean that presumably going forward every nation is going to have front triggers. And the fact that, as you can notice here, we are looking at 4 non-trigger grade 0. So I believe that is the Trickstar. So it's kind of like our new mascot. I believe that's Yuya's like starter. But the really interesting thing about that is how that fundamentally changes deck building, since so far the only skill we know on grade 0s is the starter skill of when rode upon, if your opponent is grade 1, you draw an extra card. So I think seeing that new grade 0 is going to be interesting, seeing how that skill factors. Will it factor in with the brand new boss unit from the booster set that we haven't received yet? Or will it function on its own, since they are meant to be kind of like, or to our understanding, like 2 different forms of the same unit? So I think it'll definitely be intriguing seeing how these skills are going to develop going forward. And once we get revealed what the skills are, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. And speaking of the trial decks, make sure to check out our sponsor below, Golden Phoenix Games, and use code EKO at checkout for any of your overdress goodies, be it booster set, starter set, shipping from as low, or rather selling for as low as under $3, as $3.99. Obviously shipping worldwide within 2 to 3 days using DHL. So guys, I want to say thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check us out on Twitch at twitch.tv/EKO_CBG. We'll keep you guys posted when news comes out every Friday and Tuesday. So guys, if you want to check us out more often, make sure to join our Discord in the link below. So guys, I want to say thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe if you did. If not, hopefully we'll be able to change your mind over the coming months. So guys, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.